Hi everyone, now we are going to discuss about immunology. What is immunology? First of all, you need to understand the term of immunology. Nothing but we can call resistance system in our body resistance system. For example, daily we are taking various kinds of food and a lot of dust particle enters into the body, dust particles and other material microbes enter into the body, but always we are not suffered with any type of disease, some type of diseases. Sometimes we are suffered but based on the microbes, but every time we are not suffered. So many microbes are enter into the body, foreign material, dust particles, chemicals are enter into the body, but we are not suffered with all types of diseases. Why? Because in our body having some resistance power, body resistance power, that is we can call immunity. Our body having some own resistance, and this resistance also acquired resistance is there, and innate already in our body consists some resistance power, having some resistance power. That is we can call immunity. What is immunity? Immunity means what? The ability to resist, to prevent entry of microbes. It is the ability, strength, the ability to stop, ability to prevent microbes or microorganism into the body. When the foreign material, when the microbes enter into the body, our body showing some response to kill. Our body showing, our body cells, lymphoid cells, our body white blood cells showing some response. That is we can call especially for immunity, the ability to resist it. Okay, what is immunity? It is a immunity is a ability to resist, ability to resist our body, to stop, to prevent entry of microorganism. That is that character, that feature is called immunity. Everybody have some their own immunity, but immunities differ from disease to disease, but everybody has some own immunity. One more example. For example, in even at right now also somebody living more than 100 years, there are not took at least one medicine in their lifetime. That type of people also is there. That means why microbes are not enter into their bodies, but microbes are enter into their bodies also, but they have their own resistance power, their own immunity power. They have more immunity power to resist that disease, to prevent the entry of microorganism. This immunity power is useful to kill or neutralize whatever or kill, neutralize or destroy the whatever material, even chemicals, foreign material, dust particles, microbes enter into the body, useful to kill and destroy and neutralize the foreign material whatever entered into the body. That is the use of immunity. Study about what defense mechanism, that is we can call immunology. What is the defense mechanism? The defense, protective defense mechanism. Study about defense mechanism. Study about what, especially for immunology, immunity. That is we can call immunology. Study about resistance power. Okay. Study about defense mechanism in our body. That is we can call immunology. Okay, immunity word taken from Latin. It is a Latin word. Immunity is a Latin word taken from Latin word. What is the meaning of immunity? Immunity means what? Freedom. Except. What is the freedom? Means what? It is freedom from diseases. So that it is Latin word. The meaning of immune means what? Freedom. Exempt. Freedom or exempt. What is the meaning of exempt? Exempt means also nothing but free of diseases. That is we can call immune. Immune, the word taken from Latin. Actually, father of immunology is what? Especially Louis Pasteur only. The father of immunology, Louis Pasteur only. But vaccine were discovered by what? Edward Jenner. But father of immunology is what? Louis Pasteur only. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about especially for types of immunity. Okay, now we are going to discuss about types of immunity. Ability to resistance our body. Types of immunity. How many types of immunity is there in our body? One is innate immunity. Innate immunity. Other one we can call acquired immunity. Innate immunity are nothing but we can call inborn immunity. It is coming from genes, it comes from DNA, it is come from parents. Inherited immunity also we can call, that is coming from inherited from parents only. It is from birth only this immunity having in our body. That is innate immunity. Innate, already inborn immunity. That is nothing but we can call inborn immunity. Our other one is acquired immunity. After birth in our lifetime, adaptive, we adopt some immunity. We increase our resistance power by vaccination or other process also, by naturally also. Okay, that is adaptive immunity. So that immunity divided into two types. One is innate immunity, already inborn immunity, nothing but you can call inborn immunity from birth. Here acquired immunity, that is after birth, it is develops, our body develops, or by vaccination or other material, other substances are increasing our immunity power. That is acquired or adaptive immunity. Innate immunity, nothing but we can call, especially for innate, already in our body having some resistance power, okay, from birth only. Especially it is inheritance immunity from parents only. Immunity having in our body, consist in our body, that is we can call innate immunity. Inborn immunity or inherited immunity also we can call, or non-specific immunity also. This type of immunity, innate immunity, already in our body having, when from birth only having some resistance power in our body, that immunity is showing the response when the foreign material or when the infectious material or microbes, whatever is there, enter into the body, automatically our body showing quick response. These are infection, what we call innate immunity, showing response very fast. Actually, this innate immunity consists of barriers. What is the meaning of barriers? Mean what? It stops, prevents our body. Acquired after birth it will becomes, but innate, already in our body having some immunity power. That immunity power useful to resist it, useful to prevent, stops the microbes entry into our body. That means it is a barriers. It consists some barriers in innate immunity. Okay, so that immunity is divided into two types. One is innate. Innate already is there in our body, consists some resistance power. Innate immunity. Other one is what we can call acquired immunity. We adopt after birth. We adopt some immunity by natural way or by vaccination or other process. We are develops our immunity. Okay, that is acquired. But innate, already in our body, consists of having some resistance power. That is we can call innate immunity. Okay, now innate immunity, the other names of innate immunity. Immunity is two types. One is innate immunity, other one is acquired immunity. The innate immunity is also called inborn immunity. Already I am told inborn, by birth. Inborn immunity, or also called inherited immunity. Inherited immunity, inborn immunity, inherited immunity, non-specific immunity. What is the meaning of non-specific immunity? Actually, this non-specific means what? It is not distinctive various types of microbes. It's showing the quick response, but it is not distinctive which type of microbe enter into the body. It is not distinctive between the material. It is not identify particular which type of foreign material enter into the body, which type of microbes enter into the body. It is not distinctive between infectious microbes, between material. It is not distinctive between various types of material, whatever foreign material enter into the body. It is not identified, but it is showing the response within for short time, quickly showing the response. That is important. But here, non-specific, why we call non-specific innate immunity mean it is not distinctive between various types of infectious microbes. It cannot identify which type of microbe is entered into the body, so that it is called non-specific innate immunity. And other one, non-adaptive. It is not adapt. What it is not adapt? For example, there is no change in that what immunity. There is no change. It is not showing. For example, we are suffered with second time. We are suffered with any infection is the second time. It is not changing their shape, so that it is not identified. It is not change their shape to kill that microorganism whatever enter into the body in second time. Second time it is not showing the response. It is not identified. So the non-adaptive, there is no change if we are infected with any disease in second time. So that it is non-adaptive. It is not change their shapes, or it is not identify if we are infected with second time any infection. For example, smallpox or anything, if you infected in second time, it is not useful. It is not identify that specific disease, so that we can call non-adaptive. It is not change their shape, so that we can call non-identified, or it is a non-specific means what? It is not identify if we infected second time with that disease. It does not have what memory. That means it is showing the response like first time only. Okay, so that it is not identify. Again, it is a loss of memory. That means it is not memory. That means no memory, especially for that is we can call non-adaptive. Non-adaptive means what? If we infected with any disease in second time, it is not remember. It is not there is no change in repeated infections. That is we can call non-adaptive immunity also. Okay, so that innate immunity, what we call inborn immunity, inherited immunity, non-specific. It is not distinctive between what various types of microbes or material whatever enter into the body. Okay, and non-adaptive, it is not change if we repeated infections are repeated in the second time we are infected with any disease. It is not change anything, and that is we can call innate immunity. Even innate immunity also consists of barriers. Barriers means what? It prevents, it stops. What it stops? It stops microbes or entry of foreign materials, or maybe dead or living. Okay, whatever, it stops the material barriers. It stops barriers. Okay, so that it consists, this type of innate immunity, it has consisted of 4 types of barriers. One is especially for anatomical barriers. Anatomical barriers. What is anatomical barriers? Anatomical barriers are divided into skin and mucous membrane. Okay, these are anatomical barriers useful to stop. We know skin is useful for what? It is a protective layer. It stops what? It is a covering. It largest organ in our body. It covers total organs, in the inner organs, whatever organs is there inside the body. It covers total organs in our body, and it protects our body. So that the skin is outer covering layer, especially for protective layer, nothing but protective layer. Skin is also one of the barrier, especially which is useful to protect our body internal and external organs. It prevents the entry of microbes into the body. And outermost layer of the skin, it is made up of what? Especially for sternum corneum. Nothing but we can call horny layer. Sternum corneum or horny layer. It prevents the entry of what? Especially microbes. And it is also especially for what we called water resistance. That means what? Nothing but what? Water is not enter into the body. So that what? Especially for it prevent the entry of microbes, infections, and microorganisms, fungal infections. And it is not allow the water also into the body. So that what? Why? Because the skin, outermost layer of the skin, it is made up of, it is covering with what? Sternum corneum or horny layer, so that it prevents entry of microbes. So that it is also one of the barrier. Which type of? Innate barrier from birth only. Okay, second one is what? Mucous membrane, respiratory system and digestive system. It is covered with what? Mucous membrane. The epithelial cells are releasing mucus. What is mucus? Mucus plus water. It is a substance, sticky substance. Mucus is a sticky substance. What is the use of mucus? Mucon plus water, like some water substance, both combined and form mucus. The mucous membrane releasing what? Mucus. Epithelial cells releasing mucus. What is mucus? That is a sticky substance. It is useful to stop the entry of what? Microbes into the body. The mucus is useful to kill microbes. For example, in our nose, especially for vestibule, whatever the part is there, especially for respiratory tract. In respiratory tract, especially for it is covered with mucous membrane. The releasing epithelial cells are releasing mucus that stops the dust particles, entry of dust particles, prevent the entry of dust particles. So that mucous membrane is also one of the barrier of anatomical barrier. Okay, anatomical barriers. The first innate immunity is anatomical barriers. Anatomical barriers are skin, and second one is what? Mucous membrane. Okay. And skin, especially for outermost layer, it is covered with what? Sternum corneum or horny layer. Okay. And second one, physiological barriers. Physiological barriers. Physiological barriers are especially for body temperature and body secretions and pH. Okay, especially physiological barriers of body temperature. Body temperature, when the body temperature is, if we infected with any diseases, for example, microbes are already developed in our body, and they are releasing some toxic materials into the body. When they are releasing toxic materials, that means our body temperature is increased. Why the body temperature is increased? When the body temperature is increasing, whatever the growth of microbes, the development of microbes, whatever is there inside the body, it prevents. The body temperature, if the body temperature is, the body is showing the response. When toxic materials are releasing into the body, automatically our body is showing some response. Our body temperature is increased. That temperature, when the body temperature is increasing, it prevents development of microbes. It stops the development of microbes. So that what especially for body temperature is also, it is one of the barrier. And body secretions, what is the meaning of secretions? For example, releasing some type of chemicals into the body. That chemicals also useful to kill microbes. What type of that one? Tear, lacrimal glands. In tear, especially for lysosomes is there, it is useful to kill bacteria, lysosomes. Lacrimal glands, lacrimal secretions, that is useful to kill whatever lacrimal secretion, what that is tears also. In that lacrimal secretions, that is useful to kill bacteria. And also in that tears having what? Lysosome. Lysosome is useful to kill what? Bacteria. Okay. And the gastric juices in our stomach, it is releasing gastric juices. Gastric juices means like HCl. The gastric juice is useful to kill microbes. We know that is. And also what? Interferons. Interferons, IFNS, interferons. When, for example, any cell is infected with what? Virus. Okay. Produced by viral infected cells. What is interferons? Interferons are which is affected with virus, any cell that is produce some chemical, that is interferons. Interferons is what? Nothing but it is a chemical that is useful to kill virus, antiviral chemicals. Okay, so that is also secretions, body secretions, which is infected cell that's infected with viral infection, any cell that secretes some chemical, that is we can call interferons. Okay, interferons. And saliva, even saliva is also useful to, it prevent the entry of virus. Saliva, in saliva also having lysosome. In lysosome is useful, especially saliva is useful to kill virus also. So that saliva also useful. It is one of the barrier, innate barriers. And bile juice. And bile also useful to kill what? Especially for liver, releasing bile juice, that is also useful to kill what? Microbes. And even sweat, especially for sweat, sebum or sweat, oil like substance, whatever is there, it is also useful. It is useful non-fungal. That means what? It is not entry, it is prevent the fungal diseases. So that what? In sweat, especially for lactic, it produce the what? Sweat and sebum, in that having lactic acid, that is useful to kill what? Fungal infections. It prevent fungal infection. Even sweat is also one of the barriers. So that these are what? Especially physiological barriers. Physiological barriers are body temperature. Temperature is also useful to kill, useful to prevent the development of microbes. Okay, and body secretions. Body secretions means what? Even what? Especially tears, in the lacrimal secretions and lysosomes, that is useful to kill bacterial infections and other infections. And gastric juice in our stomach, what it releasing HCl. HCl is useful to kill microbes and germs. And interferons produced by viral infected cells. Okay, and saliva, in that saliva, in that having what? Lysosomes. Lysosome, saliva is antiviral. And also what? Sweat, the sweat pH value, that is also very important. The pH value is 3 to 5 only. That means it is acidic in nature, so that it kills some microbes and viruses. Why? Because the pH value of sweat is what? 3 to 5. So that it is acidic in nature, and also it is useful to kill some microbes or viruses. Okay, and next, phagocytic barriers. The first one, innate barriers are, the first one is anatomical barrier, skin and mucous membrane. After that one, physiological barrier, body temperature and also body secretions and pH. And Phagocytic barriers are, what is phagocytic? First of all, we need to understand what is phagocytic. Phagocytic means nothing but these cells are what attack and eats the foreign material. Whatever material enter into the body, it eats. Macrophages means what? Macro means large eaters, that means what? Whatever foreign material enter into the body, it eats that foreign material. That means it destroy, it digests that foreign material. But that is nothing but we can call phagocytic barriers. That means the it damages their cell membrane, whatever microbe cell membrane, and also it kills, it digests that cells, whatever foreign material enter into the body. So that phagocytic barriers, phagocytic means what? Eating cells. Our body releasing phagocytic cells. That means the phagocytic cells are, barriers are monocytes. Okay, one is monocytes and macrophages, large eating. That means what? Okay, like copper cells. In liver having copper cells, that is we can call macrophages. Macro means large eaters. What they eat? Microbes, whatever enter into the body. That means eating means what? Digested in them or destroyed. It kills, digested whatever microbes enter into the body. Okay, like monocytes, macrophages is example is copper cells, okay, of liver, and phagocytic cells, and and their locations. Especially phagocytic cells. What are phagocytic cells? Neutrophils, copper cells of liver, neutrophils. Neutrophils are white blood cells. In that, the location is what? Blood and tissues having what? Neutrophils, and monocytes inside the blood location, and tissue of what? Macrophages, bone marrow, and spleen and lymph, and microglia, central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, having some cells, that is microglia, that is useful to kill microorganisms, germs. Okay, so that phagocytic barriers are copper cells of liver. Copper cells location is liver, and neutrophils. Neutrophils location is, it consists blood and all tissues consist what? Neutrophils. And monocytes are location in blood. And tissue macrophages are location in bone marrow, spleen and lymph. Macroglia, central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, having a macroglia. Okay, these are phagocytic barriers. Phagocytic means nothing but eating, destroy, digested microbes or whatever foreign material, dead or living material, whatever enter into the body, other materials. Okay, so the next one is inflammatory innate immunity. Inflammatory means what? If you met some injury, automatically that injury, it turns into wound. The wound in redness, increase the redness, and also pain, we feel some pain, and sometimes if we met some injury or anything, automatically our body temperature is also, these are what are quick responses, our body showing the response. Where does we are injured, in that part is turns into red in color, and also we feel some pain. These are what? Barriers showing response, inflammatory responses. Whatever wound, whatever injury turns into red in color, pain, it is covered with what? Especially for it covered with blood cells. Okay, and also some secretions of serum, secretions of what? Especially light yellowish fluid. What is that one? It prevents injury, loss of blood from our body. It covered with what? Blood platelets. It is also one of the barriers. So that what type of inflammatory innate barriers, especially for inflammatory innate barrier, where does we are injured, that is turned into red in color, we feel some pain, and also it covered with blood cells or blood blood cells, and also what especially at the time it is releasing histamine and prostaglandins by released by damaged mast cells. The mast cells are releasing, that is the immune system. That mast cells also one of the immune system, develops immune system. Where does we are injured, where does we are injured at the part, it is releasing histamine and also what, prostaglandin. These histamine and prostaglandin, due to releasing of these chemicals, we feel some pain, and that wherever injured, that part is turned into red in color. The cause of due to histamine and prostaglandins. These are inflammatory immunity. That means these are protective barriers. Protective barriers, nothing but we can call barrier. Protective barriers, automatic inborn barriers, nothing but inherited barriers we can call. Okay, so that what non-specific and non-adaptive, it is not changing if we infected with second time. So that is we can call non-adaptive. Non-specific means what? It is not distinguished between various types of microbes, what type of microbe is enter into the body. It is showing the response, quick response, but it is not identified. It is not distinguished between the what type of material enter into the body. So that these are various types of innate immunity. Okay, innate immunity consists of barriers, four types of barriers: anatomical barriers, physiological barriers, phagocytic barriers, and inflammatory barriers.